You're listening to the talk show for professional web developers. This is the David Conley Show. Online at DCRadioNetwork.com.
Greetings, brothers and sisters of the planet Earth. This is the David Connolly Show here, coming at you from DCRadioNetwork.com, and it is I. Yes, rejoice, I am here. And I thought that since it was that time of year where people are kind of hanging about and contemplating the ifs, maybe I could, I don't know, send out a few shows, and it would be nice, I thought, at least for nostalgic purposes apart from anything else, to chuck a few of these out, and hopefully I'll give you some information that you'll find useful. Today, I am going to be discussing the state of the web development community. Okay, actually, I should say the state of the web development industry. The state of the community is actually quite funny. I know that I shouldn't say this, but did you see the Coding Phase top 20 web development channels? Folks, this is incredible, right? Now, the guy I'm talking about, Coding Phase, right? He headed on his channel, set up this poll thing. It looked like it was a Google Plus page or something, right? And the poll was multiple choice, right? And he shows you this, right? It's on his channel. He shows you it. And the vibe is, vote your favourite web development channel. And he had like a list of 20 of them there, with his own, incidentally, at the top of the list, okay? And the vibe was like, he goes on, he's like, yeah, so here's me voting, I'm going to vote for my own channel, you know? So, anyway, the upshot of it is that he he came in second place for his own rigged poll, you know? You know, of course, I was nowhere. I was nowhere to be seen, and who can be surprised, actually? I haven't put that much out, but I just thought that was funny, you know? Like, the idea of chucking this poll up of the best channels, and you chuck, like, you know, a handful on, and I have nothing against any of them. In fact, I know some of those channels, and they're nice people, you know? But the idea of doing that, and then a week or so later coming back and saying, well, here are the results, you know, and the ones that are all on the thing when he set it up, by some sheer coincidence, end up being the top 20, you know. I mean, come on, folks, you know what I mean? Can we please can we please try to pretend that this is kind of an intelligent bunch of people we're dealing with here, you know? I just thought that was really funny. Anyway, do you really want to know the truth? I'm going to be hated for this. Here's what I think. I think Coding Phase is out of ideas. I said it. I think he's out of ideas. Every time I go on that channel, he's bad-mouthing every other developer on YouTube. He's always saying the same thing. Oh, I've got no personality. I'm the only one with personality. And now that he has bad-mouthed the entire community, now all of a sudden he's doing polls of the top 20 and then coming on and saying none of them have sort of replied. I don't get it. Why is nobody even replying? None of those other YouTubers. Well, I'll tell you why. It's because you've been going around bad-mouthing them all. saying that you're the only one with a personality, you know? And I just think it's hilarious. And, you know, no disrespect. You know what? Yes, disrespect to Coding Phase. Because there is a vibe. I know you've heard it all before, folks. I know you've heard it all before. But you see, sometimes the simple sayings are the best ones. And there is an old saying, you reap what you sow. If you go around bad-mouthing everybody, you know, spending a year going, yeah, man, none of them have got personalities and everything. I've watched him insult people by name for ages, for the best part of a year. And now, suddenly, he's trying to create this community. I don't think that that's what's happening at all, actually. I think he's trying to get shout-outs from other YouTubers because his own subscriber count has plateaued. He's out of ideas, and if there was ever any novelty attached to his channel, then it has now long gone. That's the state of the web development community. Listen, folks, take the focus away from me. I'm not worried because I wasn't on the list. It would have been an outrage if I was on the list. I've been busy. I'm not hanging about the hen house hoping that I'll have some subscribers. No. See, I've been busy out here doing stuff on the coalface. I'm just surprised because, you know, every month companies like Google and Amazon are holding rock concert-like events, launching all sorts of incredible new technologies and databases and all of that stuff. Now, don't tell me that they don't appear or feature in any top 20. Don't patronise me by telling me that it's some loser discussing the best framework of next year. I think everybody's sick of it. I think everybody's sick of the crap, you know. So anyway, next year, there's a nice note to start, right? Next year's going to be different from me. Next year, I'm going to be all about the tutorials. That's right, kids. All about the tutorials. This is one of the last times you'll get to hear me speak my opinion, which is probably a good thing, because if I keep going on like this, I'll end up the most hated guy in the whole industry. But in any event, speaking of the industry, yes, that is why we are here. I'm here to talk about the state of the web development industry. And what an interesting year it has been. I'm all out of breath here because I'm pacing up and down. I'm pacing up and down like a tiger, beaming my knowledge all the way through the information superhighway from my brain to yours. It's incredible. Someone out there, somebody listening, has a big decision to make. I can feel this energy. I want to tell that person, you can actually have both. You can have both. Somebody needs to hear that, and somebody out there can feel that. But in any event, let's talk about the state of the web development industry. I think this is such a fantastic time to be a web developer, folks. Let me tell you something. I think the web development industry is the most exciting industry on the planet. And I was saying just earlier on, I misquoted somebody. I was talking to Martin earlier on, and I said that somebody had said, it was actually, the original quote was, programmers rule the world or something. And I changed it a bit. And I said, you know, web developers rule the planet Earth. It's just that nobody realises it yet. Now think about that. Think about, for example, I mean, right now, I am working on, a few things, okay? I have a few things on. And when you're working on, let's say, a large commercial site, let's say something like a comparison site or something, which is one of the things I'm working on, right? There have been a few who have said, man, you know, have you got trademarks and copyrights, and will you be able to do this, and how about that, and what if this happens? Hey, maybe you should get a lawyer. See, people don't realise it, folks. We do not need lawyers. That's right, we don't need them, because we, the web development community, are 50 steps ahead of everybody else. 50 steps ahead. I was on LinkedIn just yesterday, and a message came in, and it was a guy said, hey, we're working on this app, that's going to use artificial intelligence to give stock market alerts. Would you be interested in this? And I thought to myself, man, you are darn right I'd be interested. As a matter of fact, I'm working on exactly the same thing, and I've got the domain and everything. I've got a really cool domain name for it. Haven't built it yet, but I've got a cool domain. The domain is blackswanalerts.com, you know. Hasn't seen the light of day, but I thought it was a cool name. Anyway, I thought, you know what? Maybe I could just flog the domain to the guy. Somebody offered me 500 for it. I thought maybe I could, like, by the way, a Black Swan event is a very rare event that affects the stock market. At least that's what they call it, okay? So something, you know, if there's an oil spill or something, that would be called a Black Swan event, right? So the idea is that a Black Swan alert would alert you whenever a Black Swan event happens, right? It's a cool name. So anyway, somebody had offered me 500, and then I thought maybe I could just sell the domain to this guy, and maybe they'll give me, like, I don't know, 1,000 or something, who knows? And then I thought, but you know something? If I ever did do that, they would probably make me sign something that said, I'm not going to get involved in the industry. I'm not going to get involved, you know, take the domain name, and there shall be no more conflict of interest. Oh, here you go. Thank you very much. But you see, folks, web developers rule the planet Earth. That's right. Because even if, completely hypothetical situation, it's not going to happen. But even if I did sell the domain, even if I did have every lawyer known to humanity there, all making me sign something, all making me say, well, I'm not going to touch this, you know, I'm not going to get involved in that industry, here you go. Let me tell you folks something. Those legal papers would be worth nothing. Nothing next to the almighty will of the web developer. Because who on earth is going to police me? Who's going to police you? Who's going to stop me or you from launching a website in, let's say, Iceland, right? Iceland's the place where you would launch a questionable website. Like if you're going to launch another WikiLeaks or something, you want it launched in Iceland, right? Because Iceland's out with EU jurisdiction and US jurisdiction and all of that stuff, right? So what's to stop anybody from launching anything at all, chucking it in Iceland, and then having paying a $5 for one of those who is protection things so that nobody knows it's you? Folks, nobody can stop that. Now, I'm not going to be doing anything. I have no plans of any skullduggery. My vibe is shining and my integrity is unshakable. But the point I'm making, maybe I'm labouring that point, is that there is no legal system that has been invented that can keep up with web developers. You may not know it yet, folks, but you are the guardians of the planet Earth. That's right. Web developers rule the planet. It's just that people don't realise it yet. Nobody realises it, even the developers. And I'm stealing a little quotation from, what's his name? Bob Martin there, tweaking it a bit. But that's true, I think, you know. Anyway, what an interesting year it has been. I think that 2017 goes down as being the year when web hosting changed. This is now now listen, I know that Amazon and Microsoft and what have you, I know that they've been involved in hosting for years and years and years, but this is the year when the traditional hosting companies basically are all fatally wounded. You know, it's funny, I was saying a while ago, like, rack space are for the chopping block, you know, and I was saying this like really about 10 months ago. I was like, Rackspace are really in trouble Because you think about it, Rackspace are charging premium prices for services that people don't really need anymore. I mean, the days of charging $400 or $500 a month for hosting have gone, you know. Unless you are running a site like eBay, you do not need to be paying $400 or $500 a month for hosting, right? And with the rise of, let's call them the big three, right? Google Cloud Hosting, AWS, Microsoft Azure. Those three musketeers have basically delivered a knockout blow to the entire web hosting industry. And as I say, I called this about, must have been a way back at the start of the year. And of course, the share price of Rackspace went way down. And then about a month ago, they sold Rackspace. Somebody bought it. It's no longer part of the stock market. You're going to see this happening next year, folks. You're going to see all of the traditional hosting companies really struggling, and many of them are going to actually go under. So I think companies like GoDaddy and who are the others? HostGator, all of those types of companies are going to be really in trouble. I think that DigitalOcean, Linode, WebFaction and the likes will survive because they've got incredible prices and incredible packages, and what they're offering is very straightforward. And as a matter of fact, I think that they beat the big three in terms of transparency of prices, so they'll be okay. But you see those traditional hosting companies, right? Talking about the Easy Spaces, companies like Daily, companies like, what's the other one? Is it 1&1 and UK Fast? All of those characters, folks, I'm telling you, they are gone, okay? They are going to have a rough year next year. And I don't know if any of you guys are into the stock market, but if you are, my advice is short those companies. Short the traditional hosting companies. That means, well, I don't want to give you a full explanation, but shorting basically means you are effectively betting on the share price going down, and that's what's going to happen. It has to happen. If somebody said, you know, I'm thinking of going to UK Fast, and I was to say, okay, well, it's going to be about $400 or $500 a month for the starter package. Tell me why. There's really no justification, you know. So the price of hosting has come down. I think those three companies have really changed the game, and the whole shared hosting, dedicated hosting stuff, it's gone. It's just gone, you know. And this is the year when that happened. Now, I don't think it has kicked in yet in the mainstream. There are still tons and tons of companies paying, you know, 4-figure sums per month, and they don't need to. They really don't need to. I'm currently helping out with a website that not so long ago was paying over $400 a month. And when you do your dollar translation, I'm talking pounds sterling. So this is maybe about $600 a month. Now, they're on, same vibe for, I think it's $10 a month. Exactly the same. The only difference is it will be faster, you know. There's actually a business there, you know, for any of you folks listening. Anyway, that was the big event of 2017 as far as I'm concerned. It was nothing to do with frameworks or anything like that. I think that what's happening on the hosting front is really quite incredible. Now, the other huge breakthrough this year, which for some reason it's not being spoken about as much as it should. The other huge breakthrough was in the JavaScript universe, especially in the land of things like AngularJS and all of that. The hot, not AngularJS, normal Angular, Angular 5 and all of that stuff. Because the big news flash is that they've now made it so that you can build anything with JavaScript. You know, mobile apps, Google Chrome extensions, Internet of Things stuff, all of that Google Home stuff and all of that, and the Amazon Echo and all of that. You can now build for all of that stuff using JavaScript. And as far as I can tell, companies like Google and Microsoft are working together now, not to create a unified language or anything, but to basically make it so that we can build anything at all with simple JavaScript that can then be compiled if need be. This appears to be what's going on, folks. And again, it's a major news flash. I would say it's just another reason to learn Node.js, quite frankly. That's where the action is. It's Node.js. So that was headline number 2 of the year, I would say. The other thing that happened, a couple of things that were interesting this year. I think that this year was also the beginning of the end for Bootstrap. Now, don't get me wrong, I use Bootstrap every day. You know, talking about the thing originally called Twitter Bootstrap. It makes you build nice looking websites and all of that stuff. I use that all the time, and I have no plans of stopping anytime soon. I'll probably use it for at least another 2 years. But this year, 2 things happened that are game changing. The first thing is we have this new CSS grid system appeared. I don't know if you've checked that out, but it's well worth a look, okay? The CSS grid system, it's a brand new vibe. And I'm telling you, this is going to change the way that we lay out web pages. And I can't see it even changing. It's going to be like a spoon, you know. The design of the spoon has not changed over the years because it's pretty much a perfect design for what it does. And I think it's going to be the same with the grid system. This new CSS grid system will be game changing. And the other thing that's happened just around about that time actually is this year, I think a lot of developers, myself included, we kind of reached the conclusion, like, why are we using these big huge bloated libraries anyway? You know? So I think that there's a movement towards just vanilla JavaScript and away from things like Bootstrap and Foundation and all of that stuff. So again, let me stress the point. I'm not saying that you should abandon Bootstrap or Foundation or anything. Just do what you're doing, and I'm going to keep using it, you know. However, the die has been cast, right? And I'm saying that that's the way things are going in the future. So you're going to see, over the next 2 years, you're going to see fewer and fewer people using Bootstrap, more and more people using vanilla JavaScript. I think that there's going to be a huge emphasis on page load speed, and that's going to mean less JavaScript, less CSS, and just pages that load much quicker. The other big change this year, at least for me, maybe this is more of a personal thing, but I think that until now we had we knew that there was a thing called front end and back end, but we never really bothered with it, you know. 2017 is the year when everybody starts becoming very aware of front end and back end. The two things are different. They are two entirely separate vibes, you know. I've started, when I'm building these days, I now have an API website with its own domain name and everything. And then I'll have a front end site reading from that. And I think that that's going to be kind of normal now. So that was another change. And I think that's about it, actually. I know that on the jobs front, it looks like PHP has had a pretty rough year. But as far as PHP goes, I think there is still a demand. In fact, I know there is, because my friend, maybe I shouldn't say his name, but he was offered $1,000 a day to go and do PHP work in London. Can you believe it? $1,000 per day. So even though the Indeed trends and all of that make it look as if PHP's on the decline, I don't see that at all, actually. Anyway, that's my little summary of the year, and I just thought it would be nice to do this video or even audio and just chuck it out there, you know. Pardon me. So thank you very much, and I hope we can do this again sometime. Feels good to be back, you know. I'll catch you later.